G'day, my name's Joel Rasmussen from Fight News Australia, and today I'm at Absolute MMA in Collingwood talking to Mr. Kaan Ofli. Kaan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for coming down, Joel.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I know I've interviewed you in the past. First off, just in general, I know it's a basic question, but how's camp going? We're 5 weeks out from your first title defense. How's camp feeling so far?
Camp's feeling good, man. Everything's rolling into place. The technique aspect, game plan, conditioning. I'm happy how everything's going right now. It's looking good.
I know at your level of mixed martial arts, your level of professional mixed martial arts, the feelings can stay the same. You know what I mean? You're training to win. But in the past, you have been on the challenging side of a title fight. You know, you were a Bushido world champion, and in your last time out, you were the challenger winning the Hex title. Now to be on that other side, to be the champion, does it feel any different?
It doesn't really feel any different. Even when I didn't have a belt, I still felt like I was a champion. If I fought anyone, I felt like I had something to lose. You know what I mean? Like a title, or like something bigger than what I was doing. So the belts don't mean anything to me. I'm a warrior, man. I'm going in there and I'm just trying to win no matter the circumstances.
So I was very fortunate enough before the interview, I came in and you guys were doing a hard session today. I was very fortunate enough to sit in on it. After a hard session like that, how are you feeling right now? You came off the mats from the session, you jumped in the shower, and now we're doing this interview. How do you feel? Does it feel bad? Are you in pain? Does it hurt? Are you like, that sucked? Or do you feel like good? How do you feel after a hard session?
Sometimes I'm still G'd up, and sometimes it's just more a sense of just relaxation. Like I feel good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Good.
That's good. You want to feel good after training. I noticed, I won't reveal too much. I was very fortunate to sit in. I would never want to point out this happened and this happened. But I did notice during that session, there was many people on the mat, but you were the only guy doing sled pulls with your coach grabbing onto the elastic band behind you and you're pulling him up and down the mat. How come you were the only guy doing that? And what kind of bonuses do you feel from doing a workout like that?
I just needed a different type of movement instead of what the other boys were doing. It's very similar, just hitting a different system, cardiovascular, getting the legs a little bit of a burn. I kind of felt like a fucking horse, pulling some weights. So
doing that, and as you said, using your legs, you're using your hips, you're doing that pushing stuff like that. That helps you with your high level wrestling ability.
It does, yeah. Helps with the wrestling, helps with the explosiveness, moving under fatigue, while you've got lactic acid into your legs and you're still running, still pushing forward. So, yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it.
Now, there was heaps of guys on the mat, and this isn't to speak down to any of them. They all are very accomplished. Some of them are still going right now, hitting the pads. But I did notice after that session had finished, guys recovering in their own way. Some guys like laying down, letting their body stretch, letting them just kind of wash over them. You are walking up and down the mats, hands extended above your head. Kind of, I don't know if you were talking to yourself, but it kind of seemed like you're taking that moment to yourself. What were you doing? How does that, your mentality when you do stuff like that?
Whenever I push myself to my limit in training, I just try and think about the fight. I really just zone in and I manifest and I visualize winning no matter what. So I'll try and, especially my last rounds, I try and push and leave everything in don't leave anything in the gas tank. And we'll just, instead of, sitting down, hunched over, laying down, whatever, sometimes I just like to walk around, stick my arms up in the air and feel like the champ.
Last time we spoke, I believe you had roughly just touched down in Bali. You were in Bali for a couple of days before I spoke to you. You're doing about 4 weeks over in Bali. In general, how was Bali?
It was good. I love Bali. I love the tropical weather. Getting away is always nice for a little refresh, especially because it's winter over here. I'm definitely a summer boy compared to winter. And so look, it was good. It was good to just get some weight down and have a little getaway before we got into camp, because I knew I was going to be getting ready for something.
You were training at Bali MMA, a place you've got long history with, including being a coach at, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yeah, I did a little bit of coaching there. Yeah, Bali MMA and Soma Fight Club I was training at. They're probably the top two gyms in Bali at the moment.
To be able to go back to those places after capturing a professional title. You know, I'm not sure about the last time you were over there, but either way, coming back there with definitely the Hex Featherweight Championship, what was that like to be able to return to a place you have been before and been like, look, I did it. I am now a champion.
Yeah. Because when I went there, I hadn't even had... I think I only had one international fight, which was on AFC in China, in Wuhan. Not Wuhan. Xi'an. And so when I went there, last time I went there was probably been about 4 years. So since I've had a lot of fights, 2 titles. So just speaking to everyone there, I was like, man, like, we just want to congratulate you on all your success. Like we see all the hard work you've been doing, you know, all the battles and all the wins. And it feels good to kind of hear that, you know, especially when you haven't seen people for 3-4 years. And it's a little reminder as well, you know what I mean? So no, it felt really good.
This upcoming Hex card, lots of people from Absolute are going to be on this card, and then backing it up the next day at Demolition. I know you've also got some people there. What's the feeling like in the gym when there's so many people gearing up for the same weekend?
Yeah, it's so much better. Like the camaraderie, everyone pushing each other. Everyone's got tabs on each other too, you know what I mean? So no one's letting each other slack or anything like that. The relationships grow as well in camps like this, you know. When it's just 1 or 2 people, sometimes you've got more external people, but helping you. The boys are always around, no matter who's fighting. But the fact that we're all kind of on, yeah, it's probably the best when it's like this.
I want to talk specifics about that card. On this card, your teammate Raja Shippen is fighting. He's making his return to the MMA cage. The last time we were meant to see Raja was when you won your featherweight title. You stepped in for your teammate when your teammate couldn't make the walk. What does that mean to be able to share not just the card with someone like your teammate who you helped and you had his back, but also he's making his return after so many years? What is that feeling between you two like?
Look, it's a mutual feeling. We're both excited for each other, and it's unfortunate what happened to him last time, but you know, Raj is a very exceptional athlete, and he fights at featherweight and bantamweight. So I think bantamweight is probably his natural weight class, and you know, there's just respect between each other. You know, if I win, he wins. If he win, you know, I win. You know what I mean? So that's the energy with us all here. Like we're not trying to step on each other's toes. Like we don't try and take each other's spots or anything like that. Everyone wants to see everyone win, you know, and that's the energy that we have here, and that's what I love about the boys, you know what I mean? So we're all just one team, and we're all just trying to win.
Now, I know I've just highlighted this kind of big weekend coming up in August with back-to-back days, Friday, Saturday. We got people from Absolute. But also another teammate of yours, someone I have been very fortunate enough to speak to before, Lisa Kiriaku, is making her one championship debut. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on her making her international one debut?
How exciting. I'm really, really, really excited for her. Like, I think she's going to go out there and kill it and upset a lot of people. She's fighting Nat, Wonder Girl, Little Thai, hype train, you know. She has had a lot of Muay Thai fights. I don't know much about her MMA experience, to be honest. Maybe 1 or 2 fights. So it's going to be in the ring, so it's going to be interesting. Lumpini Stadium. It's coming up next weekend, right?
Yes.
Next weekend.
Friday, I believe.
Yeah, it's a big fight. It's a big fight, and I'm really happy for Lisa. You know, I would see this fight as, you know, as if Lisa's fighting the top 5 girl in one championship, you know. So it's a big fight to have first up, but we all believe in her, and we believe she can get the work done.
You are no stranger to fighting internationally. We've spoken about that before. Your teammate, Joseph Luciano, also no stranger to fighting internationally. As far as I know, this will be Lisa's first international fight. Is there, or has she fought internationally before? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think she's fought at Lumpini Stadium before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's her second international fight.
Oh, okay. Well, that's absolutely embarrassing for me because I did not realize that. When kind of fighting internationally, I know now we've just established she does have kind of a background in it. But do things feel different when you're fighting internationally? Do you have it is there anything you said to her or could have said to her about fighting overseas, especially fighting someone in the country of their country?
Look, from her first experience anyway, she picked up a few things, you know what I mean? From her first international fight, it's never smooth sailing, you know, that you're going to come across some different adversities and, you know, with the weight cut, not having access to a bath or a sauna and all these things. So, look, I think from her first international fight, she picked up on a few things that she could have done a little bit better, and I'm sure she's onto it now. So, like anything, man, in this life, it's live and learn and experience, and you learn on the job sometimes.
Of course. Last thing about a teammate making his pro debut, I believe, on that Hex card is a fellow Kaan, Mr. Kaan Ofli.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could share some thoughts about his fight coming up, because for a debut, that's a very exciting debut to be going up against Harry Webb.
Mate, the other young Kaan Ofli. I'm also really excited to see his debut. We trained at XFC at the same gym together, so when I was kind of coming up and fighting professionally, he was still training, you know, like he was still a young boy at this stage. So it's really nice to kind of see him grow and see his evolvement in the sport. So now he's been coming out to Absolute and training with us as well, and he's just had so much improvements, man. Like, he really is a beast. And I believe it's his first fight at lightweight. I believe he's going to be, he's going to be a handful at lightweight. I'm telling you that much. So Harry Webb is a very hard fight, I believe, to take on your first fight. But that just shows the kid's confidence and his skills, and I believe in him.
When there's so many of your teammates fighting on the same card, and obviously as a championship fight, you're going to be a little bit later in the night, do you get a chance to kind of sit back and enjoy watching your teammates, or is it nerves, or are you kind of so focused on your own fight that maybe you'll get a chance to look at their fights after the night's done?
Yeah. So the times that I've fought when my teammates have been on the same card, usually before me, and I tune in a little bit, you know. I kind of get, you know, a little bit of nerves and excitement when I see them kind of warming up or they're about to walk out. And if there's a TV in the change rooms, I may watch, or if it's really early in the card, I'll go out into the outside to go watch from the stands. But I've got a job to do, you know what I mean? So especially if my fight is not too long after, I'll just stay in the back and I'll try and just block it out. So, you know, I try not to get affected if they come back with a win or a loss. You know, I don't want that to faze me. I know I've got a, you know, task at hand, and we can talk about it all after it's said and done. So, it doesn't really change anything for me.
When we were setting up this interview, which I'm very glad we got to lock down a time and I got a chance to come in, you mentioned maybe leaving for New Zealand, and I was wondering what's going on over there. Why are you going to New Zealand?
You know, I just know how to win. I know what to do to win, you know what I mean? So I'm going to hopefully get over to City Kickboxing next week. I'm not sure, I might be there for a week or two. The last time I was there for about 5 weeks before my Belgium fight, and it was awesome. You know, I had a really great time with the boys, and we trained really hard. And so I'm just gonna, probably go back there and train with a few guys for some game planning and to simulate the fight. And we'll see how we go. But that's it. Yeah.
We spoke in our last interview about you winning the Hex featherweight title on short notice, getting the call 2 weeks out. Hey, we want you to fight for a title. How does it feel now knowing that you're going to get a full camp to fight for a title?
Yeah, it feels so much better. You know, like generally, you know, an ideal fighter's world, you'd love 8 to 12 weeks. But at this level, you should be training all the time and you should be ready to go. Ideally, you know what I mean? But obviously there's specific, you know, there's opponents where you need to work specific things and game plan and train, you know, and prepare the right way. But you should be ready to go, man. Yeah.
Even though obviously you say it fills you with more confidence to be able to have that training, knowing that you are capable enough to win a title on 2 weeks' notice, what kind of confidence does that give you heading into another title fight?
Same confidence. I've had this confidence for a long time, and I guess sometimes I haven't shown it. I've been a bit humble and just had my head in the ground and just working hard, but I think I'm undeniable now, and I've been undeniable for a few years. So I believe I'm the best featherweight in Australia, and it really isn't going to be long until you guys see me in the UFC or Contender Series. So yeah, I've got my hit list, and yeah, we're ready, bro.
Is there any names on that hit list that you could share with me?
Yeah, there's a few on my hit list. I don't know, like some guys are quite up high in the rankings, so I don't know if I'm going to get like a Bryce Mitchell hillbilly, straight off the bat, or I'd love to fight a Kron Gracie. There's a couple Korean boys, the Choi brothers, or the Chois. I'll call them the Chois. I don't know, Do Hoi Choi and Song Hoi Choi. For Singapore card, maybe, I'm thinking about some Asian guys that want to get active, want to fight, and Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy. So there's a few names on my list. I don't know which one I'll get, obviously, straight up. There's also 2 guys on Contender Series, I believe week 4, one guy from Canada, I can pull up his name, and then a guy from Florida. They're both featherweights and they don't have a matchup. So boys, if you need a matchup, Sean Shelby, if you need a matchup for them boys, hit me up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fly over, get my visa sorted, and I'll be the other dance partner for them.
Well, you are no stranger to short notice fights. Talking about the fight that's coming up, obviously, obviously Kaan Ofli is no slouch. Kaan Ofli is he's a tough man in the cage. But your opponent is also a tough man in the cage. Definitely, this whole Hex card is really coming together very nice. From a fan's perspective, very nice card. What kind of thoughts are going into this fight? You mentioned before about there are times where you prep just for yourself and within yourself, and there's times where you prep to the opponent. What instance is this?
Look, I think at this level, everyone is going to be a warrior. Like there is no more easy fights. You're going to have, some tough tests to deal with. And it's your preparation that will determine how the fight plays out. So I'm making sure I'm doing all the right things to win this fight. That being my game planning, my striking, my grappling, training with specific training partners, to match my opponent. Obviously, there is the reach, advantage that he has there. So it's an element of, just a new element, But there's always going to be some sort of thing you have to deal with, with each opponent. They're going to have some sort of attributes. So, yeah, like I said, it's all about the preparation.
As we've spoken throughout the interview, both fighting internationally you've done and training internationally, training in Bali, training over in City Kickboxing like you'll be doing next week. When you get to go and you get those international looks, both in your training and then in your fighting, how does it feel to be able to then come back and be able to fight in Melbourne? I know obviously you're a proud Turkish Australian, but still like your hometown of Melbourne. How does that kind of feel when you get a chance to fight out there?
Yeah, I'm a Melbourne boy, bro. Like this is where I'm from. I'm from the areas. I've lived all around suburbs, northern suburbs, southeast suburbs. Yeah, I think even in the UFC, like I'll be known as that Melbourne boy. You can even call me from Broadmeadows if you want. But it's nice. It's nice always fighting in Melbourne in front of the home crowd, and the shows are getting bigger and bigger. That's another thing too. So. Yeah, mate. Like, I'll fight anywhere. It doesn't really matter. I feel like wherever I fight, people will love me.
Whether it be Singapore, whether it be Sydney, whether it be the Contender Series in Vegas, I'm sure you're always down. Kaan Ofli, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate your time, and let's go get some food.